Alright, so this film is pretty weird, and if there's any of our shorts I don't want to spoil for you, it's probably this one. So if you haven't already seen our latest short horror film, check it out now before you watch this making of video. Anyway, here's how we made costumes. We'd been marinating on this idea for a couple months now. The idea that a monster dresses up as you for Halloween seemed funny and weird, and very much our bizarre sense of humor. Still, I didn't want to make a complete joke out of it. In order for it to work, everything needed to still be creepy and suspenseful, just like a traditional horror movie. We both agreed it would be most effective if we began the film in a very cliché way. We followed the standard formula of a girl home alone applying some makeup, and then shit goes down from there. Frankly, I'd be surprised if anyone anticipated where this was going, but that was the point. We wrote the script in a couple hours. Despite the film's 5-minute runtime, the script was just under 2 pages. This is often the case with horror films because we'll take a simple action, like she turns around and peers out the bathroom door, and then stretch it out for 45 seconds. We cast our friend Amanda in the lead role, and for anyone wondering, that was in fact Victoria playing the monster. Our friend Lou was there to help out, holding the boom and shooting some of the BTS footage you're looking at right now. It took about 2 hours to get Victoria into makeup.
As soon as Aaron told me this idea for the short, I was thinking I have to play this monster. It just seemed so kooky and weird. Plus, knowing it would require full body makeup, I was much more comfortable putting it all over myself than someone else who might not be as used to the discomfort of latex and clay. The full body makeup comes from utilizing an at-home clay mask. I used Azteca's Secret, available at Target for about $11 a jar. One jar covered my whole body, plus some touch-ups throughout the shoot. The big task was the latex mask, which I made a day prior out of latex paste, which is just a 2-to-1 liquid latex to flour mixture. I was able to sculpt the face, which was made out of 2 sections. One main mask with the teeth, and then one smaller mask of just the lips, which helped me move my mouth around much better. Originally, the mask was meant to look much smoother, but it came out way bumpier than I originally intended. But I think it worked for the overall look. That's the fun part when you're not a pro special effects artist. You can just give it your best shot and let your monster evolve. The worst part was the claws. I thought I had them pretty secure, but boy was I wrong. Literally, a slight breeze would knock them off my fingers. So any shots you see with my monster hands, I'm basically panicking internally trying to keep those chunky claws from sliding off and ruining the shot.
We shot the majority of everything in about 10 hours. The most difficult and time-consuming part was, you guessed it, the throat slit effect. We watched a bunch of tutorials on how to do this practically, but it still didn't come out the way we imagined. It took about an hour and a half just to set it all up, so we really only had one shot to get it right.
So this was completely new territory for me, trying to create this blood gun device. We watched some YouTube videos for this trick and bopped over to our local Home Depot for the goods. The whole gag will cost you around $50 if it's something you want to try and do, so not so bad, and it's something you can reuse over and over once you get the hang of it. To do this gag, you need a pressurized container like this garden sprayer thing, heat shrink tubing, zip ties, one of these little plumbing connector things, fake blood, liquid latex, and some foundation that matches your actor's skin. I can do a more in-depth tutorial on how to create this if you're interested, or just Google throat slit effect, special effects, and some great tutorials will pop up. The main lessons learned here: number 1, make multiple latex skin coverings for your actor. This is the little latex flap that covers up the device on your actor's neck. My skin flaps kept getting wrinkled, and it takes hours to make a new one. So make multiples, you'll save yourself a lot of time and headache. Number 2, don't let the black tubing be too long. Only long enough to hide it. Once the blood starts cruising through the black tube, it's much more of a mystery when it's going to pop out, which is exactly why our blood gag wasn't as seamless as we wanted. Blood started gushing out before we were even rolling. Then we scrambled to get in position, but the blood was already gushing out from the pressure container and it was too late.
We managed to capture about 1 second of usable footage, which is all we ended up showing in the final cut. Still, some of the latex on her throat was pretty visible, so I did my best in After Effects to smooth it over. I motion tracked a part of her neck, and then grabbed a piece of skin without any makeup, and used that to cover up the makeup job. All in all, I think it came out okay considering the fact that we're by no means professional makeup or special effects makeup artists. Honestly, if there's one thing I would fix, it would be this shot where we see blood on her shirt before her throat is even slit. We stupidly shot the throat slit first, and by then her white shirt was already stained red with blood, so we didn't really have a choice. It's super quick, so hopefully not too many people actually notice, but it still annoys the hell out of me. It's amazing, no matter how much you plan, there seems to always be some unforeseen mistake. I think part of filmmaking is learning how to minimize mistakes, more so than avoiding them altogether. Vic and I actually tried the throat slit effect a second time the following night, this time using a close-up of Victoria's neck. But it didn't really work out that much better, so we decided to just work with what we got. We did, however, manage to add this pickup shot of Amanda's hair being pulled off her head, exposing her brain underneath. That was actually Victoria lying down on the floor, and those are my hands pulling the hair off.
This was the easiest effect to do, and I'm so glad Aaron suggested that we try to pull it off. I think it makes all of the other effects look better overall. All you need for this is a brain gelatin mold, which you can get at Spirit Halloween store for around $6. Just pour a thin layer of liquid latex into the mold and make sure it covers every little nook and cranny. You'll need to keep coming back to the mold and swirling any lingering liquid latex around about every 30 minutes. You can keep adding layers until you think you have something thick enough. I did about 2 layers. When it's completely dry, and this is important, dust some finishing powder all around the inside of the mold and then very gently begin prying the latex out. Next, you just give it a nice paint job, a dash of fake blood, and voila, brains a la carte.
On the second night of pickups, I also got this handheld POV shot, which I think made the moment when she creeps toward the doorway a bit more suspenseful. And just to avoid people commenting on the inconsistent timestamps whenever we show the cell phone, I actually reshot this insert so that the correct time was displayed. Now the time reads 9:08 p.m. on both the insert and the close-up. Unfortunately, on the following shot of the cell phone screen, it read 8:55 p.m., so I just masked out the time completely, and problem solved. The sound was pretty straightforward. All the monster noises were just me being super weird into a microphone. And the fleshy sounds, like the throat slit and the scalping sequence, was a combination of random sound effects I found online and me squeezing pieces of watermelon between my fingers. Altogether, it sounded pretty juicy and gross. I knew I wanted some tribal sounding music behind this, and as always, Robot Disco Puma delivered the goods. He mixed together several options of drums and drones, and I think I ended up using all of them. Anyway, this one was definitely weird and gross, and even YouTube limited the amount of ads we can run on this video. But I think it's a sacrifice worth making, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it, so happy belated Halloween.